Hey guys, this is Miss Mo. This is test 3 review for Math 1350. We are on number 12. Okay, number 12, it says write the following in simplest form using positive exponents. Okay, so when you have the same big fat thing, in this case, the big fat thing is that 5. When you have the same big fat thing being multiplied, you add your exponents. So those numbers up in the air, we're going to put back up in the air, -5, but you put plus that -3. So when you multiply, if you have a multiply dot, your exponents get added. So we still have 5, but then -5 plus a -3 is -8. And then it says some hoopla about using positive exponents. This is where anything with the negative exponent goes underneath a fraction bar. And when it goes underneath the fraction bar, that negative becomes a positive. So we now have a +8 in our exponent. And then if there was something else with me, like let's say I had like x right here, then I would put x on the top. Or let's say I had 2 times this hoopla, then I would put 2 on the top. Or if I had 22 times this hoopla, I'd put 22 on the top. But I don't have any of that. So I'm just going to put maybe like a 1. Because 1 times 5 to the -8 does not change me. It doesn't, multiplying 1 by anything doesn't change the anything. So the 5 to the -8 goes below with a positive exponent, and then you put a big fat 1 on top. So if you're wondering where that 1 on top came from, it's because usually we have something being multiplied onto this, but I didn't. So it's kind of like a pretend 1. Usually we have like another letter or something, but we didn't, so we just put a pretend 1, and that's what goes on top. Okay, let's look at 13. 13 says divide symbol. Well, when there's a divide symbol, you minus your exponents. So we have the same big fat thing being divided. In this case, the same big fat thing is that 3. That's the base. The big fat number is the base, 3. Then you're going to subtract the exponents, top minus the bottom. So our top exponent is 9, or whatever you wrote, whatever you read left to right. That's how we subtract the exponents. So we're up in the air, we're going to put 9 minus, and then I think that's a regular 3. Or is that a -3? Oh, that's a regular 3. So 9 minus 3, and that makes 3 to the 6. And hey, that's D. Woohoo! Okay, if I would have had 3 to the -6, then that's what I would do, like I did on the last problem, where the 3 to the 6 goes on the bottom, and there's a pretend like 1 multiplying times all this hoopla, so I put a 1 on top. That's if we would have had a negative exponent. But we had positive. Okay, let's keep going. Next sucker, it says, write the following in simplest form using positive exponents. Okay, so when you have the same thing and the same thing being multiplied, their exponents get added. So we have the same thing times the same thing. So let me go ahead and write down that same thing. And then we're going to add the exponents. 4 plus 16. And that makes 1/3 to the 20. So this is a lot like number 12. we have a multiply dot and the same bases being multiplied, so we could add their exponents. That's what we just did here. Okay, let's look at 15. It says solve for x in the proportion. This is where we cross multiply, like diagonally multiply. So let's diagonally multiply. 3 times 25. I keep saying the answer ahead of time. 3 times 25 equals, multiply the other diagonal. 8. What does it say? 15 times x. So that looks kind of dirty. If you want me to write it again, I will. Okay, so you multiply the first diagonal. 3 multiply 25 equals, multiply the other diagonal. 15 multiply x. Okay, now let's actually multiply. 3 times 25 is 75. 15 times x, you just squish them together. And then to get the letter x by itself, we ask ourselves, what is that 15 doing to the x? Well, it's all squished up, and when things squish up on each other, they multiply. So to get x by itself and move that 15, we're going to have to do the opposite of multiply 15, which is divide bar 15. Divide bar 15. And on the left, we get, I think it's 5, equals on the right, the 15s cancel, so you just get x. So, woohoo, see? All right, let's go again. Let's look at this. Question 16. Multiply the diagonal, x times 21. Multiply the other diagonal, 18 times 7. Well, x times 21 just gets squished together. And 18 times 7? Not for sure. Let's go see what that is. I got 126. Okay, now let's think to ourselves. If I want to get x by itself, because it said solve for x, that means get x by itself. What's the opposite of this multiply 21? Well, it's divide bar 21. And on the left, those opposites cancel because they're opposites. On the right, we get 6. Woo! Okay, let's go again. Number 17. Multiply the diagonal. 4 multiply 4x equals, multiply the other diagonal. 1 multiply 28. Okay, we should be able to actually do this math. 4 times 4 is 16x. 1 times 28 is 28. Oh no. Okay, now we have to get the letter x by itself, and it's multiplying with that 16. So if I want the 16 to disappear away from my x, the opposite of multiply 16 is divide 16. So we get x equals 28 over 16, but I think you can reduce that by maybe some 4s. Wait, actually, let me look at the answers. The answer is a mixed number, so okay, sure. Let's go ahead and reduce these by 4. I already wrote it down. Okay, 28 divided by 4 is 7. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And then if I were to turn this into a mixed number, I'd say 4 divides into 7 how many times? Well, 4 can go into 7 once for sure to get 4. But then when you subtract down, you get a 3. So we have a remainder of 3. So this is the same thing as the big fat 1 from the top of the division house, then a fraction bar next to it with what our remainder was, 3, on top of what we divided, 4. 1 and 3/4, woohoo! Again. Uh-oh. Okay, let's look. 18, 19, they're kind of awkward. It says rewrite the following in equivalent decimal form. Okay, first we might need to remind you about what the equivalent decimal form is. Okay, let's see. This is in our notes somewhere, but I don't know where they are. So I'm just gonna write it out real quick. Okay, I think I spelt one of these wrong, but I don't care. Okay, let's pretend this is place value. Hundreds, tens, ones, then there's like a decimal, then tenths, hundredths. I think I spelled the hundredths wrong. I don't really care. Okay. And the exponent hoopla from number 18 through 21 comes from the word hundreds. Okay. 10 squared means the 100th spot. 10 to the 1 means the 10 spot. 10 to the 0 means the 1 spot. That's kind of weird. Tenths means 10 to the -1 spot. And hundredths means 10 to the -2 spot. Okay, so let's look at number 18. Number 18 says, rewrite the following in its equivalent decimal form. So what that means is whatever is attached to the 10 to the blah, blah, 10 to the blah, blah, 10 to the blah, blah, whatever attached is the number that's going to go in that spot. So see how this first sucker says 2 times 10 to the -2? So that means we're going to go find the 10 to the -2 spot. Here he is. And we're going to put a 2 in it. Yay! So this is number 18. Okay. Then we're going to go to the next spot that says, oh crap, it says, I was supposed to put the 2 in the 10 to the -2 spot. My bad. Okay, so this 2 that we're multiplying by, it's going to go in the 10 to the -2 spot. My bad. Way over here. Then the 6 is going to go in the 10 to the -3 spot. Well, where do you think 10 to the -3 is? Here we have 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. Oh, it's the next spot, 10 to the -3. And in this spot, we're supposed to have a number 6. Okay, so my final answer is going to have this 2 6 in it, but let's remember where our decimal is. It's right here in the middle. And since it did not say anything about 10 to the -1 up here, it's just going to be 0.026. Okay, let's go on to number 19. Okay, so that one we just did was 0.026b. Let's go to 19. It says 8 belongs in the 10 squared spot. So here's my 10 squared. I'm going to put an 8. Then it says 4 times just a plain 10. What exponent is on that plain 10? It has a pretend 1 in the air. So there's a pretend 1 on this plain 10. Okay, so attached to this 10 to the 1, we have a 4. So in the 10 to the 1, we're going to put a 4. Then the next sucker is 10 to the -1, and it looks like there's a 9. So let's put 9 there underneath the 10 to the -1. Then it says 10 to the -2. There's a 1 multiplying with him, so we're going to put a 1 in the 10 to the -2. Okay, the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to tack on the decimal. And then, am I missing anything? Yeah, I need a number right here in 10 to the 0. Well, I can't just put whatever the heck I want. The only thing I can put as a placeholder is a 0. So I have 840.91. or C? Okay, let's go to number 20. It says, write the following as a sum using powers of 10 to show place value. Okay, that means we're just going to go backwards. Let's go ahead and write down the number they gave us, 0.056. So on number 20, 0.056. So the point is in the same spot, 0.056. Okay, now we're going to use it to write words. Well, now we're going to use it to write the symbols. The 0 should be multiplied with 10 to the negative 1. 0 times 10 to the negative 1. This one D does not have 10 to the negative 1. So D's out. Oh, wait. Yes, it does, but it says 5 is multiplying with it. We need our 10 to the negative 1 to have a 0. So D's out because it has the wrong thing attached. C's out. We don't even have a negative 1 exponent. B's out. We don't even have a negative 1 exponent. And then, let's see. The numbers multiplying in front are 0, 0, 5, 6. And that looks like what we have. The only thing is they put an extra 0 right in front for the 10 to the 0. And that's okay. You can put an extra 0 in front. Okay, so that one, we're supposed to have a 0 with the 10 to the 0. A 0 with the 10 to the negative 1. A 5 with the 10 to the negative 2. A 6 with the 10 to the negative 3. A. Okay, let's go to 21. I'm going to use this same little thing. 21. First, we're going to fill in these spots. So we have 153.800, and then there's supposed to be another line, 1. Okay, well, let's see here. We're supposed to have 1 times 10 squared. A is wrong because there's a 5 multiplying with the 10 squared. We need a 1. B could be right because I see that 1 times 10 squared. C is not right because it doesn't have 1 times 10 squared. D could be right because it has 1 times 10 squared. Okay, so we're not looking at C and we're not looking at A. Let's keep going. 10 to the 1 should have a 5. And both do. 10 to the 0 should have a 3, and they both do. Then the 8 should be in 10 to the negative 1, and that's not what part B has. Part D has it for sure, though. So part D is the answer. Woohoo! Okay. Let's write this sucker as a numeral. That means numbers. Okay. Well, first it says 235. Okay. Well, how do I write 235? 235. Okay. Now, that's how I write 235. Now, where is 10 thousandths? Well, here's your decimal. Then we have tenths, hundredths. I think I spelled that wrong again. Thousandths. 10 thousandths. 100 thousandths. Yeah, okay. So the 100,000th spot is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots after the decimale. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots after the decimale. Okay, so I know I have 5 spots because they told us 10 thousandths. 10 thousandths is 4 spots after the decimal. My bad. Okay. So we're just going to have 4 spots after the decimal because of that 10 thousandths. Okay, now that 235, that's what we're going to fill in. But we're going to fill it in from the right. So the 5, I'm going to put on the very right so that it's in the spot of 10 thousandths. Yeah. Okay, then a 3 and a 2. And I need a number to put here. So the number you can put here safely is 0. So C, woohoo!